My name is Ethan, and this isn't just a story, it's what happened to me. It's a truth I lived through, a moment where I came closer to death than I ever thought possible. It all started on a rainy autumn evening. I was an urban explorer, obsessed with finding abandoned, forgotten places and documenting them. I'd heard whispers about an old, derelict church on the edge of town, rumored to have been abandoned after a bizarre incident decades ago. My friends, Maya, a history major, Liam, the tech guy with all the gear, and Chloe, the skeptic of the group, agreed to join me. We parked the car a mile away and hiked through the woods. The church stood alone, its steeple a jagged finger against the dark sky. The heavy wooden doors were locked, but we found a broken window on the side. We climbed through, the air inside cold and heavy with the scent of mildew and decay. The place was a wreck. Pews were overturned, a thick layer of dust covered everything, and the stained glass windows were shattered. Liam set up a camera on a tripod. He wanted to catch any strange sounds or movements. Maya was taking photos of the old religious texts scattered on the floor. Chloe was just rolling her eyes, a flashlight beam dancing around the shadows. Suddenly, Liam's camera started buzzing with static. The light on it turned a strange, flickering red. He checked the screen, but it was just a distorted mess of colors. Then, we heard it. A sound like a child's mournful singing coming from the altar. Chloe's skepticism vanished. "That's not an echo," she whispered, her voice trembling. The singing grew louder and a shadow detached itself from the wall. It was tall and thin, with long, spindly limbs. It moved toward the altar where a strange symbol was carved into the stone floor. As it moved, it left behind a trail of black, shimmering goo. We were frozen in terror. The shadow reached the symbol and began to trace it with one of its long fingers. The goo it left behind started to glow a faint, sickly green. Liam yelled, "Run!" We scrambled out of the church, but as we ran, the ground began to shake. A deep, guttural sound like something waking from a long sleep rumbled from beneath the earth. When we finally made it to the car, we looked back just as the church steeple snapped off and collapsed. We drove away, but the horror wasn't over. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing the glowing symbol in the shadow's long fingers. In the morning, I tried to paint what I had seen, but as I worked, a thin layer of the black, shimmering goo began to ooze from the canvas. It smelled like death and felt cold to the touch. My friends were experiencing their own horrors. Liam's camera footage was a nightmare of twisted images. He saw the shadow figure staring back at him from the screen, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. Maya found an old leather-bound journal that she had taken from the church. She started reading it, and a strange language began to form on the pages, a language that she somehow understood. It spoke of a forgotten ritual, a blood sacrifice, and a gate to another world. Chloe, the skeptic, was haunted the worst. She began to hear whispers in the middle of the night, whispers that said, "Come back, the ritual is not complete." She started seeing the shadow man at the end of her hallway, its form growing more solid each time. One night, the three of them disappeared. I was at home, talking to Liam on the phone, when he just screamed, and the line went dead. I immediately called Maya and Chloe, but no one answered. I knew what had happened. The journal had guided them back to the church. I had to go back. I knew it was a stupid idea, but I couldn't abandon them. I drove to the ruins of the church. The ground was no longer shaking, but the air was thick and heavy. I found the entry to a secret cellar beneath the altar. Down there, the symbols on the wall were glowing brightly. My friends were tied to posts, their eyes wide with fear. A figure, tall and gaunt, was performing a ritual, chanting in the same strange language from the journal. This wasn't the shadow from before. This was a man, but his face was skeletal and his eyes were hollow pits of fire. He turned to me and smiled, his voice a dry whisper that felt like a knife in my ears. "You're late. The final sacrifice awaits." I was the final sacrifice.